Hey y'all, it's Chloe and we're back with another video. This is Put a Ring on It Season 2, Episode 4, you guys. And this episode, I really enjoyed it. I felt like we learned a lot. We got a lot deeper into the couples, their dynamics. I mean, it was a really good episode, okay? Dr. Nicole was just like out here dropping gems like it wasn't nothing the whole episode, okay? Let's just get into it and let's not waste any more time, okay? Because we got some things we need to discuss later when it comes to Chris Williams from Married at First Sight, Season 12, okay? But until then, let's just get into Put a Ring on It, okay? So the episode opens up with us trying to figure out if LaRonda is going to go on a second date with Sir James, okay? And I'm just going to say that she said, of course she is. And I was like, of course she would. I mean, even if you just not even like, you know, that into his conversation, you just need to just see him one more time, okay? You just need to get a glimpse of him one more time, okay? Sean says, put all the candy in front of her so that I can know that she chooses me for sure. And she's like, I choose you every day. And you know what? A part of me felt that because, you know, when you're in a relationship or a marriage, especially for a long time, you make a conscious decision to choose that person every single day, good and bad. So when she said, I choose you every day, that hit me right there, okay? Right there. But we're not going to negate the fact that she kind of just said she wanted to go on a second date again, not only because Sir James was fine, okay, but also because, you know, her and Sean kind of got into it that day. He's like, we didn't really get into it. She just stopped talking to me. I was like, yeah, she was feeling herself from that date, okay? Homegirl was like, what am I doing here? Why am I even investing my time in this? So anyway, they were arguing. He was like, yeah, she's just being petty, okay? So Sean says yes with a capital Y. He wants to go on another date with Brittany. He says that he was so focused on LaRonda that he didn't even get a chance to really get to know her. And he really was liking the vibe that she gave off. And he wanted to, you know, just see what it's like one more time, okay? Just get a feel for her and see if he really was connecting and vibing the way he think he was, okay? Dr. Nicole asked him, are you jealous? And he was like, am I jealous? And I was like, anytime you got to ask the question and answer the question, you already know that that's the truth, okay? He says he's not jealous. And Dr. Nicole's like, listen, the rolling of the eyes, the hand gestures, the nodding of the heads, all that between the both of you, okay, it's not going to help you get to a resolve, okay? No one wins unless you both win, okay? So unless you're on the same page together, you're both losing. Yeah. So since Alexia and Eric obviously did not choose to go on another date with their person, they are going to stay at home and self-reflect on themselves, okay? And learn how they can communicate better. Meanwhile, the rest of them get to go on their dates. And I was like, I bet Eric was thinking, dang, I should have said I was going to go on another date. And I bet you Alexia was like, dang, I wish I would have went on another date because now they're going to be at home reflecting while the other person is out enjoying themselves. But anyway, Jessica and Eric are in the car and they're talking, okay? And Jessica is talking about how she feels as though this experience is a lot harder than she thought it would be. And Eric's like, I just can't tell. I mean, you're going on another date with Clarence, okay? So I don't see how hard it's going to be. She's like, just relax, okay? Relax. He's like, he's nothing but a muscle. He's nothing but a muscle. I was like, ooh, that daggone Eric is in his feelings, okay? But I can understand. He says he's not really, you know, upset about her going on a date. He's just mad because he's not going on a date too. And I was like, I told you. I know he was wishing he would have said he was going to go on another date because he just don't want her to be out on a date while he at home. That's all this is about. He's not really jealous. He just don't want to be at home while she out. I see you, Eric. I see you. Then she says, I'm starving. You gonna feed me? And he was like, you better go ask Clarence. I said, ooh, he patty. He in his feelings. But yeah, it was cute. I think the interaction between them, it kind of gives us a, you know, sense of playfulness, a sense of like understanding of why they're together. They actually mesh well. They communicate a little bit better. They communicated better in this scene than I've seen them communicate in a while. It was like they were kind of both really honest with how they were feeling, but they didn't let it get to their head. You know, they discussed it and they just moved on from it. So now back at Alexia and Dorian's house, okay? Dorian is basically talking about how he needs a better sex life, okay? Because sex is how you communicate, you love each other, okay? And how he feels as though she's very affectionate in public, but when they get home, it's out the window. And I just said, I feel like, a part of me feels like Alexia likes the idea that Dorian is a celebrity to some extent. So when she's out in public with him, she wants the world to know she's with him, which is probably why she's so affectionate with him out in public. public. But she does say that she doesn't want to have sex with him because she doesn't trust him. She feels as though when he goes to the condo that he's out there doing other stuff, because he called her at 2 o'clock and say, oh, I'm on my way. You want something from the Waffle House, but then not come home to 8 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, ooh. Yeah, I would think you were doing something else too, sir. I mean, that's not far-fetched. I mean, you said you was coming home at 2 and you show up at 8 o'clock in the morning. I need you to help me make it make sense, and you need to tell me what really happened, or I'm going to feel like that's what's happening, okay? Now, they're sitting there and they're going back and forth, and then we find out that he doesn't even trust her, okay? He doesn't trust her because she got a friend that be DMing her the heart eyes and everything, and she's like, he supports me. And Dorian was like, well, I would think the woman I would support me too. And she was like, well, then go call Kai. He was like, well, she supports me too, and she wants to post it on her Instagram. And I said, oh, not post it on her Instagram. Let me tell y'all something. That's another thing about Kai. I feel like Kai likes the idea that he's some type of celebrity too. I'm not going to say she don't really like him. I'm just going to say I think she likes the idea that he's a celebrity too, especially because it's only been, what, 3 days, and she's ready to post him. All the pics, post them all up, okay? So it just gives me a couple of red flags about their relationship. They've been in this relationship for 14 years, on and off, and they obviously have trust issues. But I feel like they might be able to work through the trust if they can just communicate what's really happening. I feel as though they're both leaving out details and the interactions that they're having, or when they go outside or with their friends. That's what I really feel like. They're just missing the little bit of details. But when they were arguing, he said something to me that really kind of hurt, y'all. It hurt. He said, obviously there's love here, and that's why we're here. People get stuck in these stagnant situations because of love. L-O-V-E. And I said, it's true. Sometimes love is not enough, okay? We want to believe it is, but sometimes it's not. It can be if we both really, really want to do the work. But if you don't want to do the work, love is not enough. It's just not. And I felt that. And I felt like he was stuck in this relationship because he's been in it for 14 years and he loves her. That's exactly what it sounded like to me. But y'all, I was like, they got some deep-rooted issues, and honey, we need to get down to the bottom of that, because that would really have hurt my feelings, and I would have been crying in the corner like Sean. I'm just saying, that just would have been me in the corner crying. Okay. So now Kai and Dorian goes on their date. Okay, this is what their third date, and you know, Kai and Dorian says that he's just excited to have some of that soft feminine energy to help soothe him. And I was like, ooh, Alexia, there's a lot of things that he says that you might need to take a look at internally, sis. Soft feminine energy. Sometimes you need to let that guard down, stop being so hard, okay? Embrace that man, hold that man, touch that man, love on that man, okay? Be that feminine piece that he needs. Not saying that he deserves it all the time, but if he's craving it, I wonder how much of this function and disconnect you guys really do have in this relationship. But anyway, Kai says that sometimes she thinks about Dorian's relationship with Alexia, but she's not really worried about that because she knows that she can have him if she really wanted him, okay? It's Mr. Still Your Man. I told you, Kai is Mr. Still Your Man. They are go-kart riding, I think it is, or like bumper car riding. They're going around and they're racing and everything, and they're having a good time. They're having fun, but then they sit down and they start to talk. They start to open up a little bit to get to know each other. You know, she talks about how she's opening up a beauty bar, and you know, he asks her, you must have money because that costs a lot of money to, you know, open up a business. And she was like, well, I used to be really bad with my finances. I hit rock bottom. And he was like, what? Like sleeping in a car? And she was like, whoa, not that bottom. Okay, not that bottom, but I did get low. And he was like, oh, you must have good family. And she discussed how she has children. And for him, it's the passion for the children in her eyes because he feels that same exact passion. And I didn't even know that he had kids, okay? Because I would assume if they've been together for 14 years, that maybe they would have had kids together if he had kids. But come to find out, like we're gonna find out a little bit later on, homeboy done had 2 kids, 3 kids, 2 baby mamas or something like that, and they on and off 14-year relationship. And I was like, oh, there's a lot of issues that they need to deal with, okay? Not just the on and off, not just the 14 years, not just the infidelity, not just the trust. This is a bigger picture, okay? A whole big picture. But Kai does believe that Dorian is telling the truth, and he actually loves Alexia by the way he talks about her. And I'm starting to think that maybe Kai is really just starting to understand Dorian and actually enjoy him as a friend, because she's starting to realize that she can't just steal him as easy as she thinks she can, okay? She asks him, if she asks you to stop going out on dates with me, would you? And he says, no. I wouldn't, because I have to be true to the process. I have to do the process the way it's supposed to be done. And I thought to myself, that process word should have showed her right then and there that he's doing the work for his relationship. As much as she wants to believe it's about her, it's really not, okay? Yes, he's enjoying her. Yes, he enjoys her presence and the fun and the, you know, the sexual energy or whatever the case may be. But he's looking at the bigger picture of how he could bring home those tools and work with Alexia. Okay, and I kind of was getting a sense of feel for who Dorian really is. And in this episode, it just made me really think that maybe he's not as off as we may think he is. They have a lot of issues that they need to resolve before they get married. They do. And we're going to get into that, y'all. I'm ready to just jump the gun and get into some of this, because like I just feel like it makes perfect sense when you hear it and you see the bigger picture, right? Okay, so let's just keep it moving. So now Sean goes on his second date with Brittany, y'all. And he walks in and she's inside her booth, you know, singing or whatever the case may be. And Sean is outside of the booth grouping, okay? He's just, oh my God, grouping, okay? When they sit down, he asks her about the song. He tells her that she can really sing, okay? She says that the song is an original and it kind of deals with their situation. And I was like, y'all, situation? This is the second date. I'm confused. What situation do you guys really have? Okay? They start talking about, you know, how she'd been in relationships, but they didn't support her. They felt like her singing wasn't really a career, it was just a hobby. And he can relate because, you know, he's into the arts and things like that. And he understands what it feels like to be striving for something and someone not supporting you, okay? They really connected on a deep level, okay? But, you know, he's starting to feel as though, I might have to get myself out of this because I'm really enjoying this. I'm really liking this. I really can see this being something if we were to continue. So I'm going to just go home and we're going to revisit this a little bit later. Now, I felt like Sean done found another woman he feel as though he can, you know, piggyback off of. And with that being said, I'm just going to move on. So now Dr. Nicole goes to meet with Alexia and Dorian, y'all, and they've already been arguing, so they're kind of heated as it is, okay? When Dr. Nicole comes in, they sit down and they just jump into it, okay? Dorian says that he doesn't listen, Dorian says that she thinks that he doesn't listen to her, but he just can't deal with the assumptions, okay? Homegirl just got too many assumptions. So then, you know, Alexia starts bringing up incidents, okay? It was NBA All-Star Weekend, and he ended up, they were supposed to chill with each other at the condo. He went out, okay, and he didn't come home till sometime afternoon the next day. Okay, there would be times where he would go out of town, wouldn't tell her he was going out of town, call her when he's already out of town, says, I'm going to call you back a little bit later, doesn't even speak to her till he's back in town. Now, the girl in me, y'all, was sitting here like, girl, why would you even put up with this? Why are you even dealing with this? What is this 14 years on and off for, honey? He already showed you who he was, honey. You got to go. But Dorian is like, she's lying. She's lying. Why would you sit here and tell her? We can't even get through the process if you're going to be sitting here lying. Dr. Nicole was like, I'm trying to ask a question. He like, she's a liar. The lies, the lies. I was like, ooh, Dorian, okay? I felt like Dorian was starting to get in his feelings because he kind of knew that it was the truth and he didn't want his business out there on Front Street, honey. Okay, this girl did not just make up these incidents out of nowhere, okay? They happened, okay? They may not happen as frequently as you want to believe they did, but they happened, Dorian, okay? You can't tell that girl that this didn't happen. Y'all both know what happened. Don't sit there and act like she lying about these incidents. It's very specific, okay? What she's saying is very specific. She didn't just make this up and write it down in the journal and decide to just say it on TV for fun, okay? Let's be honest. Now, Dr. Nicole says, okay, I didn't even know what we were going to talk about today, okay? I sat down and y'all just started going at it. He was like, she's always barking back. And Dr. Nicole was like, well, if she's barking back, then that means somebody had to bark first. He was like, I was like, okay? Communication. Okay, you ain't gonna get to no resolve if everybody's always yelling. Dr. Nicole says, y'all mastered this. What y'all got going on right there? Y'all mastered it. What is the root of this problem, okay? The root of this problem comes from the fact that, Alexia wants to be married. Alexia wants to have kids. Alexia says he has 2 kids. He has 3 kids, 2 baby mamas, okay, within our 14-year relationship, okay? And I'm not about to be like them baby mamas. Okay, I want to be married and I want to have kids. He says he wants to have kids, but he just don't want to be married right now because he don't feel like they're marriage material. They got a lot of things they need to work on before they get married, and he don't want to rush it. He's seeing the title, Ruin Relationships. And I was just sitting here like, this relationship already been kind of ruined before the title, okay? I can understand that y'all got a lot of things that y'all need to work on, and y'all really don't need to get married right now. But what happened 14 years ago, okay, maybe 10 years ago, that y'all didn't get married then? Has this been an ongoing cycle where this has been repetitive and you keep going through the same thing over and over and over again, but you're just holding on to each other for dear life, okay, until something just breaks you? Because at this point, I'm just trying to figure out, girl, you've been through a lot, okay? And I'm not going to say he don't love you, and I'm not going to say you don't love him, but how much is enough? Obviously, y'all got some real issues. And if y'all ain't been able to kind of figure it out a little bit within these 14 years, honey, I'm just saying, do you really want to be married to him? Right now, I should say. Do you really want to? Now, Dr. Nicole basically tells Alexia that she needs to speak up more, okay? Stop sweeping stuff under the rug. You guys cannot get to a resolve if y'all do not have a real conversation. Stop the arguing. Sit back. Listen to each other's point of view and then discuss them. Okay, Alexia, she has an aha moment and she really feels like she needs to speak up more. And I was like, yeah, girl, there's no way we just gonna be bringing this up now after he done did all that, okay? Okay, you should have not been sweeping these things under the rug because that's how they continue to keep happening, you know? So Jessica and Clarence go out on their second date, okay, and they're working out, okay, and somehow Jessica is like, I'm hot, I'm hot, you're not hot, you don't want to take off your shirt, you don't want to take it off, and he was like, well, I'm a professional bodybuilder, so if I unwrap this package, okay, this is a package I'm about to unwrap, okay, so he takes off his shirt, and she's like, ooh. Ooh. Now, y'all, I'm not into like all the muscles and stuff, but it was a nice sight to see. Not gonna hold you, okay? But then she sees the name Dana. She's like, who's Dana? And he was like, my ex-wife. She was like, oh, well, we need to go talk, okay? So when they sit down, he explains how they got married at a young age, and they kind of just grew into different people. They did have some infidelity. It sounded like he cheated a few times, and then he wasn't really present in a relationship, and he learned from it. And, they kind of wanted to make it work, but it just didn't work out, okay? He then asks her, like, what's up with you and, your dude? Like, why hasn't he even tried to, like, wife you up? And y'all been together for so long, and you're so beautiful, and you're so intelligent, and you're so this, that, and the other. And she was, we've had those conversations, it just never happened. And I was just sitting there then, like, just because she's beautiful and intelligent on the 2 dates that y'all been in don't mean that it's not more to her that, you have to discover on your own, okay? Everything that glitters isn't gold, obviously, because she's a very attractive woman. She's very smart, but something about her isn't quite hitting all of it for Eric, which is why he hasn't married her. Okay, everybody feels as though they will be doing something different if they had that person, when in all actuality, maybe not. Just maybe not. Okay, So LaRonda goes on her date with Sir James, okay? And when he comes in, y'all, he's attractive. He's really attractive, okay? They playing, they bowling, and they're having a good time. He's like, stop staring at my butt, okay? When they sit down, they start talking about, you know, why Sir James is single. He said that his last relationship was 4 years ago, and basically the girl was like cheating on him, stepping out of a relationship, worst relationship he's ever been in, okay? And he asks her like, what's going on between you and the dragon, okay? Because they done named him the dragon because he was breathing down their backs or whatever the case may be. But you know, when LaRonda asked Sir James did he actually put his hand on her lower back, he was like, you know, I was just trying to make sure you didn't fall or whatever the case may be. She was like, I really didn't remember that. And I was like, exactly. See, Sean was so caught up in what actually happened that he didn't even try to listen to the fact that homegirl just really didn't remember that, okay? Yeah, it may have happened, but in her mind, she just was like, I don't even remember, okay? But they seem to have been having a really good conversation to me, y'all. They really seem to be getting to know each other a lot better, okay? He says he wouldn't mind going out on a third date with her, okay? And I was just sitting here like, they click well. And I just didn't understand why LaRonda wouldn't want to go out on another date with him when she said that she had to force a lot of the conversation. See, they need to like show us those, you know, long pauses and those, you know, her picking up the conversation, because the conversation flowed well to me. I'm just saying, okay? Now, anyway, so now all the couples go to sit down with Dr. Nicole and, you know, discuss their week or whatever the case may be. So when Dr. Nicole talks to Dorian and Alexia, they talk about how they had a conversation and how they actually listened to each other, and how, you know, she said she felt some type of way when he did XYZ, right? And he actually showed her the proof. He pulled out the receipts. Like, this is what happened. This is me falling asleep. And this is why I didn't come. I got too drunk, or whatever the case may be. And, you know, they kind of got to a resolve. But my question is, Dorian, okay, if the girl was, you know, saying something about it then, why didn't you pull out those receipts then? This could have been resolved when it happened. Why does it have to be resolved years and months later, okay? Why do we have to hold on to that? I feel like it's a pride thing. Like, you just want her to believe you. In some incidents, yeah, we want to be believed. But in some incidents, okay, it's wild and crazy as you supposed to be home at 2 o'clock and not showing up to, you know, 7 o'clock the next day. I'm going to need a couple of receipts. You should have no problem providing those receipts to the woman that you love, okay? So I was just confused as to why they let these things, you know, harbor for so long when they could have been resolved that easy if they could have just did this in 1 week. Y'all could have been did this, and y'all could be almost on y'all way to marriage. But no, we didn't do that, okay? So Dr. Nicole says that you got to think about it as a white canvas, okay? If you don't give that person the paint to paint the picture, they're going to paint the picture the way they want to. And I was like, exactly, okay? If you didn't tell her that this is what's happening, this is what happened, this is the receipts for it, she's going to make up a whole bunch of other stuff because she don't have nothing to go off of, okay? Because history has shown that this has been a pattern somewhere down the line, that this is what you go do, and I don't know what you're doing, and you're not telling me what you're doing, so now I have to make up what you're doing. And I just feel like, I mean, like, come on. All it took was an explanation, Dorian. Just explain to her what happened. Just explain. And she probably wouldn't even be harboring or holding on to it, because she sweeps it under the rug and let it go and just have to take your word for what it is when you have the receipts to just show her. It's just childish, okay? I don't know what it is about that he just can't show her. But anyway, so then Dorian brings up, you know, the guy friend that she has that, you know, he doesn't really trust, okay? He says, I trust you, I just don't trust him. Like most men, they'll trust their woman, but they don't trust another man around their woman, okay? But Dr. Nicole says, I call them the nouns, okay? Anything that's drawing a wedge between you. So first you have to manage yourself, and then you have to manage the person, the place, or the thing that's causing a wedge between you. I said, Dr. Nicole, say it. If the relationship between you and a friend is bothering your partner that you've been with for 14 years, okay, because you feel as though he supports you, you want to get married, you want to have children with this man. So maybe if it's making him uncomfortable, you need to get rid of that man. This isn't hard rocket science. Manage the people, places, or things that's causing the wedge between your relationship, okay? If the condo is the thing that causes the problem, if the condo is the place he runs every time y'all have a problem, that condo needs to go, because that's how you deflect from the situation instead of confronting it, dealing with it, and resolving it. Y'all, I feel like Dr. Nicole done made me a therapist. Anyway, Eric and Jessica talk about how they argue and they do what they do and they kind of skip the resolve area and then they just be acting like nothing happened, okay? And I say that's so normal in relationships. You have an argument, the passion gets intense, okay? And you just want to make up so quick, so you do what you do to make up, okay? And then you never really discuss the issue that was at hand because you feel like, okay, we need to just let it go now, when in all actuality, we need to like really kind of like get to the bottom of it because it's going to keep resurfacing. But he brings up the fact that he really can't really have deep conversations with her because 80% of the time, people don't want to hear their problems. Dr. Nicole says, is she the 80%? And he says, yeah, like, I feel like she doesn't want to hear it. And if it's not concerning her, she doesn't really have anything to say. So Jessica says, wow, like, I try to give you good advice. I actually listen to you and talk to you. He's like, but it's not nothing I hadn't already thought of. And I was like, that's selfish. That's so selfish. Because you sit here and you say to this woman, I want to have deep conversations with you. I want to connect deeply with you. And when she tries to console you the best way she knows how, by listening and giving you suggestions, because there's something you already thought about, you feel as though she's not hitting you deeply and intellectual. When in all actuality, if that was the case, you wouldn't have thought about it if it wasn't a real solution to maybe whatever the problem was. It's selfish. Maybe if she's repeating the same thing you already thought about, you might need to consider that. Okay, I felt for her in that moment because she really was trying to, she really has been trying to be there for him and he hasn't been letting her. But then he turns around and kind of blames it on her for the fact that they don't have these deep connections. They don't have these deep conversations. And I was just sitting here like, Eric, you wrong for that, bro. You definitely wrong for that. You can't put your guard up and then expect for her to just break it down the same way you was willing to do with the girl that you was on a date with last week. Okay, you was willing to express everything with her, but when your woman is giving you advice about a situation, it's not good enough for you. That's foolish. That's foolish. But anyway, so Jessica says she doesn't want to go out on another date with Clarence because she feels as though, she likes to turn up, and he didn't do that for her, okay? He was like, I guess working out wasn't the turn up, okay? Homegirl wanted to go have fun. He just didn't give her that excitement. Dr. Nicole was like, ding, there you go, okay? The part of this process is to figure out why you're with the person you're with too, okay? Not to just, pick out the flaws, but to also realize that there's something about this person that you're drawn to, okay? Eric must excite you. Eric must likes to turn up and have fun. And that may be one of the good qualities that you have with him. The grass is not always greener on the other side, even though it may look like it every now and then. Okay. So then when we asked LaRonda whether or not she wants to go on another date with Sir James, she says, like, he's very attractive. Like, I'm not gonna hold you, he's cute, okay? But I had to lead the conversation a little bit more. And I didn't really like to have to like drag that out of him. And I'm like, that's because she's so used to daggone insecure over there Sean, who's always bearing his feelings every chance he get, okay? She felt that though she had to like pull the conversation out of him. And I just, like I said earlier, I just wish that they really would have shown the disconnect, because for me, it looked like the date went well. I just didn't see where it went wrong. But for her, it didn't work out, okay? So Sean says he enjoyed his date, but he completely knows what fire is and what it smells like and how he should not touch it. Okay. Dr. Nicole says, so you're going to do what you did last time, not go on a date because, you might like this person too much. And he was like, I'm going to have to be true and I'm going to have to be honest with myself in this process and I'm going to have to go on another date with her. Okay. And I was just sitting here like, thank you, Sean. Okay. Thank you. Be honest with yourself. The point of this is to push it to the limit so that you can figure out the goods and the bads of your relationship, what can change and what you enjoy. You won't be able to do that if every time you start enjoying somebody else, you pull away, because you don't know what flaws they may have that you might appreciate in your woman. Okay, even though we already know he's her world, his sunshine, his life. Okay, anyway, now we get over to Alexia and Dorian. And you know, Dr. Nicole asks him about the date. He says he really enjoyed his time with her. Dr. Nicole says, could you see yourself being with her? He said, if I had met her before her, talking about Alexia or her, okay, easily. Alexia is kind of upset. He says it's a good thing that Kai is so challenging for their relationship. And Alexia says, watch what you say. And I said, woo, child, this is getting tense. Now, I can understand both sides. Like I said about Sean has to push himself to come out of that comfort, to really appreciate the things that LaRhonda does for him. Once he realized that just because someone has good conversation, someone connects with you, and this one time, doesn't mean that that's the person for you, okay? Sometimes it may be glittering a little bit, but honey, it ain't sparkling like what you got at home, okay? Now, I get what he wants to do. He wants to push it. He wants to figure it out. If Alexia is actually the one he wants, because this woman really sparks something in him. And he's not willing to let that go yet until he really figure out if she really is sparking something or if he's just in the moment because it's new and exciting. Okay? But Alexia can't handle it. So Dr. Nicole says, so Dorian, do you want a 4th date with Kai? And he says, I'm gonna have to, be honest. I'm gonna have to be honest with myself. And I'm gonna have to and he was like, I'm gonna have to be honest with myself. And instead of, getting another phone and like getting her number and calling her, I was like, what? So you was thinking about cheating? But you're just gonna go through the process the way it's supposed to go through instead of, trying to dip out on the side. I was like, what are you talking about, Dorian? Because it definitely sounded like he was thinking about, going to get a secret phone and having, a whole secret life with Kai. He just said, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna go on another date with her, keep it out in the open. I was like, okay, now I understand why Alexia was upset when Dr. Nicole said, so how do you feel about this? She was like, you really want to know how I feel? Eric, move your feet. She gets up and she walks out. She walks out because she's upset. I mean, it's not even the fact that he wants to continue going on dates with this girl. I was sitting and thinking like he kind of just said that he would do a whole extreme to continue talking to this girl, okay? But he goes after her. He was like, what bothers? Why are you so bothered by her? And I'm like, Dorian, she's not bothered by Kai. She's bothered by the fact that you're investing so much energy, time, and even went to the extent to say you would get another phone to continue talking to her. She's bothered by you, Dorian, not Kai. Not Kai. Dorian always brings up how she's insecure about the Kai, and she feels as though Kai is what he likes. This has nothing to do with Kai, Dorian. This has everything to do with you. And if you can't see that, I don't know what to tell you, bro. I just don't know what to tell you. Y'all, next week gonna be even better, okay? I really enjoyed this episode. I don't know what I missed and what I didn't miss, but y'all saw the episode, okay? Y'all saw it. I think I touched on everything need to be touched on, okay? But let me know what you think down in the comments. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.